She literally never bites me, but as soon as you get here, she has to be a little bitch. Don't mind my background. That's the next video I'm filming, I promise. Hi, hello. What's up? How are ya? Intros are weird. Intros are weird and hard. I don't know if I'm gonna actually do this every video. Anyway, hi, my name's Sarah. I'm new here, in case that wasn't really obvious. How do you film a first video? Normally you can reference past stuff, pretend that you're friends with the audience, whatever. Nobody's watching this. Yeah, actually that's where I'll start. So nobody's watching it. Hello to nobody. This is my YouTube channel. Someone on Google said that the best way to start your first video was to do like a newbie tag for whatever niche you're in. So this is the booktube newbie tag. Am I going to stick to booktube? Unlikely. I think this is going to be like a book slash home decor slash I bake compulsively slash I also live in New York City, isn't that cool? Slash whatever I'm into at the moment channel. I'm gonna just jump right into it because this is really, really, really fucking awkward. You can hear my radiator hissing. There's literally nothing I can do about it. The annoying thing about the radiator is like A, it's loud, but B, it's so freaking hot in here. Like, I have my sweater rolled up. I'm only wearing this because like it's clean-ish and it's very comfy. And I do have to go outside at some point today where it's like 30 degrees, but I have my windows open because it's so hot and I can't turn the radiator off. And it's loud. It's annoying. Anyway, New York probs. I don't have any control over the radiator. My landlord does it remotely from a different part of the state, actually. Why start the channel? I have been reading for a while, I'm 27, and I have wanted to start a YouTube channel since like 2013, like Zoella era YouTube. I have filmed so many videos that I didn't end up editing or posting because they just didn't feel how I wanted them to feel. What that is, I don't know. Hopefully, if you're seeing this, it's closer to this. It's not this exactly, but it's closer to this. I always thought that my YouTube would be like fashion or beauty, something like that, because that's something that I am very into, but like they just didn't have, I don't know, I still love those things. So obviously, here we are 10 years later. I moved to New York earlier this year. It's December 1st. This year's gone by so fast. I moved here on July 3rd, so I've been here for a few months now, about anyway, I was very confronted with the fact that I am in fact a cave dweller. Meaning I like small, dark, cozy spaces. New York is not a small, dark, or cozy space in any way, shape, or form. I love living here. I don't intend to move back to the holler just because I don't like bright lights. Literally the only downside of living in New York for me is that it's not my cozy vibe. So I decided that Magnolia is going to join the video. I decided that I was going to make my apartment that space to kind of give myself what I needed. She's just here. I love my little Brooklyn apartment, and I decided to go a very different route with decor than I have historically. I've always gone with like, I don't even want to say with what's trendy, but usually I like what is going to be trendy soon. And the decor that I've always done has been what I wanted at the time. But as I've gotten older, I've realized that like it's not just about the aesthetic. I have to live here. And as cool as my original plan for this apartment was, which is like all black, white, and gray, very modern, it had a lot of like Asian, Korean, modern design choices as well. But that's just not what I needed here. So I have been very slowly and expensively been making my apartment that space for myself. A couple weeks back, I heard some of my coworkers talking about how they hate the season because of like seasonal depression, and apparently this is something that like a majority of people experience. I miraculously, don't deal with. I have regular depression, which is the all year type. Fall and winter have always been like my time of year. It's baking season, it's cozy season, it's read a book inside instead of leaving your house for 2 weeks season. It's my time. And I thought, you know, there's a lot of shit going on in the world all the time, but we're so exposed to it now that like my everyday life is obviously not YouTube. I'm gonna continue to, you know, do the things that I do in real life. But what I want to put out on the internet, particularly, at least on YouTube, is kind of like Miss Rachel, but for adults with seasonal depression, maybe? Is that a good way to put it? I just think that, obviously, mental health is not something that you can entirely control. But if you're going to be depressed in the winter, you may as well do it with a good book, a good drink, something delicious from the oven, in a space that makes you feel cozy and safe and like you could hibernate, because that's what the season is all about. So, while I do that, I thought I would bring you guys along, because like every YouTuber I thought I would bring the internet along with me, because like I do it anyway. But all of the YouTubers who I follow have been also complaining about going into winter and talking about how like they wish it was summer all the time and they hate this. I'm not putting that energy out here. It is fall, winter all the time in here, and hopefully watching this will help change the PR of the seasons. They need a good rebrand, and I'm here to do that. And maybe inspire you guys to like be cozy and sad instead of just sad. I'm not gonna cure your seasonal depression, but I can like make it more aesthetic, you know? What can I bring to book talk? Absolutely nothing. Nothing is new. This is an oversaturated but very small niche. I feel like anybody who's claiming to bring something new is lying or just not very self-aware. What I have to offer you is my opinion, my perspective, and my drink recommendations for each book. Maybe that is unique. I don't know. One thing about me, I love an atmosphere. I need an atmosphere. So like if I'm into a book, if I'm really enjoying a book, I will base my food, drinks, clothes, like all of my decisions in a day become heavily influenced by what I'm reading. So like I love pairing a book with a drink and a meal, and that being a thing. I'll probably talk about that. I'll probably like show you. Also, because I live in NYC, I do plan on doing some like bookstore tours of my favorite spots here, some tours / aesthetic videos of my architectural crush of the month. There are so many freaking gorgeous buildings that I love to just sit outside and read. I also do choose those based on the book. I do. So maybe I'll do a book and building pairing too. We'll see. If you're into that, stick around. If not, stick around anyway. I need the views. What are you excited about with booktube? All of it. All of it. I am excited that I'm doing this. And that's one reason that I am doing it. I have not felt just like pure happy excitedness about an idea, like something to do. It's been a long time. It's been a very long time. Like there's no pressure. I don't have to worry about analytics. I'm not worried about numbers. I'm not worried about views. I just want to do it to do it. And if I make like one friend out of this, if I find one person to talk to about books that I'm reading, I will have gotten out of it more than I could have asked for. I honestly did not know that booktube was a thing until maybe like 2 weeks ago, to be 1000% honest. Shout out to Cozy K. She's not really a book vlogger as much as just like a cozy YouTuber, but watching her had got me into booktube. So I'm new. I'm very new. I can't even say I've been a lurker for long. Excited to kind of just see what's out there. Like it's very low stakes, you know, these are books. None of this is real. And all of the other things that I'm involved in regular basis are high stakes. Like I work in social media marketing in New York City for a very cool company, a very chill company. My job is as chill as it can possibly get for the circumstances, but there's still stakes. All of my other extracurriculars are very high stakes, humanitarian effort type things. I want something that's not that. I want to chill. Also, this gives me an excuse to read 4 books a week if I want to, with my full-time job. Why do you love reading? So I actually love disassociating. And what is reading if not a guided disassociation? That's as honest as I can possibly be. I don't love reading as much as I love the effect of it. Everybody says escapism, and that's basically it, but it, like, to take it a step further, it's like I don't even have to come up with my own delusions to escape into. What more could you ask for? What got you into reading? This is a fun story. Not really. This is a base trauma. Anyway, I was like the last person to learn how to read. I was 7 by the time I was able to actually read anything, which is super late. I could like, obviously could read my name and the most basic of things, but I couldn't like pick up any sort of book or paper and really figure out what it said without some help. And that was the first time in my life at that point that I did not just immediately get it with a new task. And it was so frustrating for me. More so frustrating for my parents because they hadn't had to teach me anything up until this point. They most of the time just had to demonstrate something 1 or 2 times and I'd figure it out myself. It was a huge point of contention. My parents thought that I just wasn't doing it because I didn't want to. That wasn't the case. I just genuinely, I couldn't do it. I didn't understand why / what was happening. I just knew that they told me I had to read. At that point, reading just meant like reading the worksheets that I had for homework and reading freaking Hooked on Phonic books, which I hated. And there was a lot of tears, a lot of yelling, a lot of getting grounded because I couldn't read the book. And they really thought that it was just like me not wanting to or me being defiant. There was no storyline in those books, and in hindsight, I think that was the problem. I was just reading words that sounded similar. And if that was the point of reading, forgive me for not being terribly interested. Anyway, one random 2nd grade day, my teacher, Mrs. Lavender, shout out to her, hope you're still alive, 20 years ago, Jesus actual Christ, she switched out her like in-classroom library, just like the normal rotation, but she put a book on display that I had to know what that book said. It was Meet Addie, which is like the first in the Addie American Girl series. And the thing that drew me to that was in case you hadn't noticed, I am not white. Big duh. Or maybe not. Some people have thought I am white somehow for some reason. But my parents are. I'm adopted. And at that time, I had not yet met another not white person. So seeing that book with a black girl on the cover, I was like, are you serious? I gotta know. Who's this bitch? What's she doing? So I walked over and opened the book and just read it. I couldn't tell you how I got from I really can't read to I just read a chapter book, but it happened. And I think it was because for the first time, reading was not just like a series of similar sounding words, and it was telling a story about someone who I was interested to know. That was that. After that, I went from literally not being able to read to, at the end of that school year, having a postgraduate reading level. My second book was A Pilgrim's Progress. Only white people in that one. What challenges do I need to overcome for YouTube? I am not a consistent bitch. I'm gonna be honest. I suck at being consistent. I can't form a habit to save my literal life. I will go days without eating because I forget. It's a struggle in every aspect of my life to be consistent, and I don't think this is gonna be any different. Maybe I'll love this so much that I'll just easily do a video a week or whatever. I don't think it's likely. I'm gonna try. Again, I'm not gonna push it. I'm not gonna pressure myself to do schedule, I don't think. This is gonna be fun, god damn it, which means I can't make it miserable. So consistency will be an issue, I think, but I'm gonna do my best, you know? That's all we can do. Where do you read? I will read in a house. I will read with a mouse. I will read here and there. I will read every. It's 2:54, which means the middle school down the street from me is getting out, which means that all of the parents who can drive are a good quarter of a mile down the road, stuck in traffic, which means we're gonna hear all of their honking for the next hour and a half. Goody. I will read literally anywhere. Primarily, I read on this couch, in my bed, on the subway to work. I have an hour and a half commute. I read in parks a lot. I read in buildings that I have a crush on at the time. Also, reading on the train. I'm thinking about filming a reading vlog. When I take the train upstate for Christmas to my grandparents' house, it's supposed to be snowy. I'm going on Christmas Eve, so there probably won't be a ton of people on the train. I think it'll be really nice. I'm gonna read something cute. I'm gonna do it anyway. If I film it, is a different story. What does your book collection look like? So my physical book collection has 7 books in it right now. Like I said, I moved to New York in July. I brought only 2 suitcases, 2 like medium-sized suitcases, a backpack, and my cat. There were no books to be had. In that situation, I brought 3 books with me that I just couldn't give up. Everything else I donated to my library. Who want to fill my bookshelves? I have 3 7-foot bookshelves that are set aside just for books. I want to fill them soon. The thing is, I am kind of anti-consumerism a little bit, like as much as you can be. So I don't really buy books, especially because of how fast I read. It would cost me a couple $100 a week if I bought every book I wanted to read. I'm trying to only buy secondhand / and or books that I already love, books that I adore, and I want to have a physical copy on my shelf. Those ones I'll probably start buying, like the nice special edition ones. It's like things that are really meaningful to me, and then I'll continue to build those out. I read a majority on my iPad. Again, it would be so much money if I bought every book, so I use the library. I have a library card both for the New York Public Library system and one that's like for most of Virginia where I'm from, so I have access to like a ton of books. And I do prefer a physical book, but again, practicality has to beat all. As far as the physical books, the 3 physical books that I did bring with me, the first one was My Body by Emily Ratajkowski, yes. That was like my first book that I read after literally about 8 years of not picking up a book. Going into college killed my love of reading, and then I just never got back to it until the beginning of this year. But December of last year I read My Body, and it was incredible. I think every woman should read it, and most men should read it. Some men would just use it as a weapon. Second one is one of my Percy Jackson books, because in high school I accidentally donated almost all of them to my library, and then they wouldn't give them back. So I have kept the one that I still have from middle school, and it's moved with me to all my apartments. The third is On Palestine by Noam Chomsky and Elam Pape. A lot of people are reading that book right now for really obvious reasons. I read it for the first time, I'd say 8 years ago, and I obviously, when I moved here in July, did not know how relevant it was going to be, but I have so many notes in that book from myself and other people who I've learned from about this issue over the past 10 years that I've known about it, and I just didn't want to start over with a new copy. So those are the books that I have. Since moving here, I've gotten a few from some secondhand bookstores, and I also got, you know, the Barnes & Noble's like $5 section, how they have books there? They always have these like compilations of mythology, and I have all of them now, and I've read them, I've started annotating them, and what I want to do is in my modern fairy tales, fae, fantasy books, whatever, when I notice storylines that reference these old myths, I want to be able to like reference, cross-reference, all that stuff. So those are the physical books that I have right now. That's it. That's the newbie tag. I didn't answer all the questions. I answered the ones that I felt like it. That's how it's gonna be around here. Again, apologize about my wildly boring background. I have only lived here for 3.5 months, and it is really, really fucking expensive to furnish an apartment from scratch, which is what I've been doing. The very next thing that I'm doing after I finish filming this video is to fix this corner. It's gonna be a long ass video because I have a lot to do. Anyway, love you all in a parasocial way. I'm gonna go to Target now. Bye.